Ciao Bambinos, and welcome to an Insider Advanced screening. You may have played the first Godfather game, but today we're here taking a look at Godfather 2 with Jeff Haynes. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at New York City.
Definitely. So let me zoom out to what's called the Don's View. This is one of those things that lets you basically take a look at everything that's going on within your territory. There's going to be 3 separate cities, but right now we're just going to take a look at New York really quickly. What you can see right here is pretty much the overall Don's view from a very high up top-down view. But what's cool is that you can actually zoom really close in and get a 3D view of the different buildings and establishments that are populating the Godfather 2 world that you can go to, take over, and eventually control.
Okay, so we've just landed at the airport right now. Just give me a little bit of an idea of how closely this is resembling the movie storyline. What to expect if you know the movies really well.
This is actually kind of a mix of Godfather 2 and elements of the first Godfather game. So basically what's happened a little bit before this point that we're at in the game is it takes place 6 weeks after the Cuban Revolution from the movie. Aldo Trapani, who was the hero of the first Godfather game, has actually been killed, and he was the leader of your family. And you, as Dominic, this new character in Godfather 2, are essentially elevated up to the Don's role in your family in this sequel, and you're going to start taking over and running things for Michael in New York as the head of a new separate family. Okay.
So what we're looking at right now, just driving around the city, the sun's coming up slowly here. But, it looks like there's a lot of detail in the city, but it's not quite as pretty, quite as airbrushed as Grand Theft Auto looked.
Yeah, it's a very different look and presentation, and part of that happens to be just kind of the time period. You're kind of getting more of a sense of like the brownstones, a lot more of the neighborhood feel, kind of the elements that kind of makes up a certain portion of New York, not the full-on overall thing where you've got like, Times Square or anything else. You still get the sense of like some of the taller buildings, the elevated trains.
Whereas Liberty City felt like, the centerpiece was definitely the downtown financial district. This sort of feels like you're walking around Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. The Godfather's New York is a lot more confined. It's really a very, very tightly contained
streamlined
area.
Environment, so to go along with the story.
Yes. This is the Sweet Life Bakery, and initially, you'd think, well, hey, it's just a simple bakery, baked goods, cakes, whatever, but the Sweet Life Bakery actually has a hidden side to it, let's say.
Okay. Has to do with something sweet. I can't imagine what that would be.
Yeah, so, because it happens to be guarded, there's a bouncer, and I can talk to him, and I can try to, push my way in, but of course, since he doesn't know me, he doesn't think I'm anything, there's no reason for him to let me in. But if I decide to take a little pressure to him, maybe throw him into things, give him a headbutt or two. Let me see here if I can actually throw him around. There's a couple different things that you can do. I mean, I can specifically execute him, or I can just keep pressuring him and make him eventually give in.
And this was seen in the first Godfather. This was like one of the major things they showed off the first time, was the whole, pressuring people to work with you system.
Right.
Sort of this little like torture game that you play with people when they don't respect you enough.
Right, and everybody's got a breaking point. So now that I've managed to basically make sure that guy is going to let me do whatever I want, I can go into the back room, and of course it's pretty much a strip club / gentleman's parlor. So, there's some ladies dancing on the floor and everything, but because this is a rival establishment, the guys that own this place don't necessarily want me in there. So now it's up to me to teach them some manners, let's say.
Okay.
So I can break that guy's arm, I can do different things. Because he's in front of me, I can also just execute him instead of just beating him senseless.
So, in the broad sense, when you come into this place, what is your ultimate goal for this, establishment behind the front?
Well, part of it is that you want to get as much money from the people that own the place as possible. So, of course, I want to put some pressure on this guy, not necessarily kill him, but I want to rack up as much dough as I can without like getting him to his breaking point.
Right.
So in the top right, you can see like kind of the meter, and I'm just trying to push him to a point, and then it's like, hey, now you're going to give me what I want when I want it, and you're going to give me the business right now.
Great. I have to say that I do own those pants he's wearing.
Excellent. Actually, the interesting thing about Godfather 2, because it is a mature game, is that you know, you can go up to some of these ladies and you can flirt with them. You can talk to them. I mean, like the thing is that those ladies are scared primarily because they saw me
Kill some guy.
beat the hell out of
Yeah.
some people. But you know, you can walk over to some of these other ladies and, you know, flirt with them and have a conversation, try and sweet talk them, talk dirty to them, do whatever. And it's just one of those things that adds a little extra color. And depending upon what you choose, they'll respond to you favorably or unfavorably. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have any specific interaction with them, but it does add to kind of the flavor of the game, if you will.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't really see nudity in even Grand Theft Auto. They shied away from it, so it's kind of surprising every time you see it in a mainstream game. That woman's dress at the top of the steps did not fit at all.
No, not at all. But apparently, you know, she responded to me talking dirty to her, so he might have a date later on that night. You can never tell.
Interesting. So there we just got a quick look at some of the racketeering elements that happened in Godfather 2, along with a quick overview of the city. Thanks, Jeff.
Sure.